Welcome back to the High Ticket AI Systems Podcast. Everyone, please welcome the one and only Mr. Daron Babin. Darren, how you doing today, my friend?
Very good. Very good. Thanks for having me.
Happy to have you on, my friend. For everyone that does not know the name of the brand just yet, can you give us a high level overview of exactly like what you guys sell and who you guys help serve?
Yeah, sure. Look, my name, it goes back in the digital marketing industry, quite a ways, but not my regular name. I had a nickname and I didn't like it. So I'm going to put that out there first and foremost. I did not like it, but I was very successful. In my early years when they dubbed me this, but they used to call me SE Guru. And so literally started organic SEO 30 years ago.
Gotcha.
32, actually, yeah, 30 years ago,
Yeah.
1996.
You're an OG in the
Long
space,
time
man.
ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
OG.
It's, I mean, I definitely feel that age, but for anybody that's been around for any significant length of time, I was squarely in search, and used to help a lot of folks with that. The other place that they would know me from is Webmaster Radio. Webmaster Radio was built back in 2004 and is still being produced today, with new content. So I've been around a long time. I'm an old fart. I come by it naturally now, I guess.
But to my understanding, you're also a serial entrepreneur, right? So you have the SEO guru side, you have the webmaster side, or excuse me, yeah, the webmaster side,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
I mean, from my latest findings, you have really quality or high quality buyer intent data. You
Hmm.
have the Buzz CRM, which kind of blends the two worlds with leads and automations and like
Hmm.
CRO.
Yep.
It's fantastic. How did that transform from, being the SEO guru to
Yeah.
the pivoting over into intent data and then CRM and processes?
Yeah. I mean, look, I think, I've done this a long time now online, and you see points of evolution. And, you said earlier that, I'm a serial entrepreneur. Yeah. I like to say I'm an early adopter, right? I like to say I see a trend and I'm already moving in that direction.
Right.
Um, and I think for folks that have that instinct, it's allowed them to navigate all of these crazy changes that, we've witnessed over the last, for me at least 30 years, to where we are today. And so, personally, I'm in love with digital. I love the industry. It is my first love. And, I think it just comes down to helping people. That's really where we live. And so the evolution was kind of simple, really. It was happening to us while it was happening to our customers, and our customers were going, help. So that's why we forced our evolution so that we could be there for our customers and plenty of others. We've worked with Fortune 500, down to the solopreneur. So we don't look at folks and look at their journey and say, oh, like you've not done enough. You haven't taken enough licks on the chin yet. You've not earned your stripes. No, I'm kind of a rare breed because I'm one of those guys that feels like if we help each other, we're going to get to where we're both going a little quicker. But if I hoard my knowledge and I don't share it because I feel like I need a leg up, does that really work?
I think
Not
that's a
really.
poor man's mindset, actually, because when your cup overfloweth, you have no problem giving.
Absolutely. Like, absolutely. My mindset, believe it or not, in the early days when I got that nickname was giving out some of these secrets that I knew to work in the early search engines and directories. And I'd just get on a forum and I'd post it. Yeah, you need to do this. You're doing it wrong. And
Right.
I'd get private messages. What are you doing, man? Are you crazy? You're giving away the secret sauce. I
But
mean, if
the
you're in a
amount of
barbecue, don't you share?
Right. No, absolutely. And I feel like that actually builds so much trust and goodwill and authority in the marketplace to
Yeah,
where if the potential prospect is a little hesitant, like, I don't know if Darren's the right guy for this, but they read a form or a couple of forms, it's like, okay, Darren obviously knows what the hell he's talking about. He's the go-to guy in the space, you know? So
yeah,
people, and there's two types of people from what I've learned when giving information out there for free. They're going to take that information and they're going to run with it. Thank you so much, Darren. You're the best. I'm going to execute on my behalf. And the
right,
second person is, it's like, this is way too complex. I'm not going to waste my time with this. Darren, take my money.
right,
And they become a customer. You know what I
right.
mean? So I'm a huge fan of giving away the secret sauce. There's so many added benefits to that. And the
Absolutely
people that take it for free and never pay you, they were never going to pay you anyways. So like, what do
correct,
you really lose?
correct. But you know what? Here's the thing. What we don't realize is when we help that person that never reaches back out, believe it or not, I've seen a lot of those people come back to me going, I know you don't know me, but I was listening to X, Y, and Z, or I was at, search engine strategies. Like that's dating me. That show hadn't been around in a while.
You're fine.
Um, right? Like I was there and I was in the audience and you had this to say and it changed my life. Right. So you can't sit and think that, oh, I didn't affect anybody that didn't come and put money in my wallet. Because if you had a positive impact, then believe it or not, word of mouth can get out of that person, right? That person can go, yeah, you should listen to so and so because they really know their stuff. When that happens, then your organic reach is growing. Everybody knows like word of mouth is one of the most powerful forms of marketing. And so I was never one to lament those that would take and, never come and get on my client roster. Wasn't a big deal at all. For me, it was let's try and help as many people as we can because when we give, it comes back to us.
Oh,
And it's like the universe, it's this natural thing that happens. But when you hoard your stuff and you're not out there sharing, if you're on a podcast, you're either pimping yourself or you're sharing knowledge. I tell folks, get out there and share your knowledge. That's when people start to look at you for who you really are.
absolutely. No, thank you for those, Darren. When it comes to the intent data, because I run a B2B outbound agency, intent data is like the thing that we look at. How did you come across this, and what would you say classifies high intent? Like, can you give us the high level
Mhm.
overview of like
Yeah, sure.
how that works?
Yeah, I mean, look, from a search perspective and if you look at it from a search perspective, that's probably one of the closest things that you could marry. Just from a intent perspective. If you look at that, then you can kind of wrap your head around intent data, right? Because getting to that audience is kind of the same sort of approach that you would do when going and looking up, a certain search term that your audience might land in. Okay. The difference in this is that with intent data, you're actually a part of their journey, whereas traditional list marketing is horrible. Like that's dated, it's aged. There's nothing about that you can look at as reliable. List sources, like they resell these things 40, 50, 60 times a single list and, tell you it's, you're one of five. Oh, yeah, don't ever believe that stuff. Unless you're pulling your own data, right? I tell people traditional list stuff, it's gonna get you in trouble. So just imagine, monitoring millions of Americans and watching for them to land inside of your product or service and then be able to go move them out into some automation. That's really kind of, the nuts and bolts of it. We've had customers for years that, ask for the same. They're like, we appreciate your ongoing help with our marketing. We need more. And so, that was a natural journey for us. And so helping people get into their intent audiences is just stupid simple. And, being able to pipe that directly into your CRM where you can tag it and trigger automation, um, that's kind of where I think folks are trying to maybe shift is because this logic of search today is obviously very, very different. I've said for 30 years, the one constant about SEO and search engines is change. So that you can rely on. And the fact that, we're staring a massive change down the barrel. Google announced recently the death of the blue link in favor of Gemini results, full Gemini results. We're going to see a lot more of this. And so as this continues to evolve, you're going to see people who do well in search now panic. They're going to freak out. And I say, don't freak out. Have another plan.
Mm,
Intent data is one of them because that, think of it like this. When they go to the LLMs or they go to Google and Gemini gives them their results. Any of the listings in there that you click on and out to, well, guess what? That's intent, right? Whatever you're researching and you go out and you land, well, we got you.
right.
So you don't have to rely on Google. I tell people, you always want to be careful when you start any sort of campaign. But as the evolution of this space continues at a very, very rapid pace, you have to maintain constant tests, constant on just a number of different, lead sources, traffic sources, it's gonna continue to change. I can't sit here and tell anybody today what it's gonna be like in 90 days because this is moving so fast.
Yeah,
90 days, it could be scary, spooky, different.
yeah.
So yeah, I just think that, if you start now, focus on, stuff like intent data. This is why we got into it in the first place. Buyer intent leads, that's that was our whole reasoning was this ecosystem that we all work in right now is changing so fast. We still need to be able to get to our customers. And if in that transition, search makes it difficult, you still need to be able to get to your audience. And so buyer intent leads, that's a way to do it.
100%. And there's so many angles you can take with that intent data. You can email them, you can call them, you can text them, maybe you can send them mailers if you want to. But out of curiosity, how does I guess what is the not the exact pricing, but the pricing model behind that?
Oh, sure.
Right.
And for anybody that's curious, you can go see it, buyerintentleads.com. Down on the bottom of the page, two different approaches. And we really built this in a way that it took the customer and their journey at heart because we see two types of people, right? The type of person that, they're ready to roll their sleeves up and go do this themselves, and they wanna see the results of, their campaigns. They wanna, get their hands dirty. And so, for do-it-yourselfers, you can come in and start for 1,500 bucks, build out, 5 different targeted audiences with up to 25,000, leads inside of them, and then filter them down, right? I tell people build strategies around who your outreach is for. If you're doing lookalike audiences, well, that's a different strategy. If you're doing, cold out on email, different strategy. If you're doing SMS, different strategy. So it does require some thought around all of that.
Strategy, yeah.
Um, and we tell people, we work with people like, you know, you're going after intent. It's completely different, right? So there's that approach. We work with the do-it-yourselfers. You can get in at 1,500 bucks and you've got a steady stream of leads. And those update, by the way, right? Throughout the month. You get to set that refresh rate and it'll just refresh and you can pipe it right out into your CRM.
That's
Pretty
amazing.
awesome.
Yeah.
The other way to do it is, and as you can imagine, are those that just say, please, like you said earlier, George, please just do it for me.
Right.
So in that instance, what we do is we actually couple our enterprise version of the buzz with an enterprise version of buyerintentleads.com. And then we go build it out for them, right? We build the audiences and we have to work with somebody on their team. And, I think that's a good period because we really get to know what their goals are, help them dial their audience in, and then connect everything up into the CRM. And people go, do you have to use yours? No, no, we can run it out like HubSpot or Salesforce or wherever you guys want them. And you should do that, right? Like it should, this is a source of new constant refresh leads on a rate that you set. Um, we don't always get to do that. Like we don't get to go to the search engine and say, "Hey, by the way, I need you to send me X." So it's a bit of a different approach, but yeah, two approaches, really, really simple. Do it yourself, or just have us do it for you,
And
right?
who would you say is best suited for this? Like B2C companies, B2B companies?
Oh, well, that's the thing.
And for marketers as
We
well?
we have a variety, because there's a B2C component that's, obvious and, boy, the leads are there. So really depending upon what you do, but I say it like this, right? Like if you sell, a product retail and wholesale, right? Then you can come in and lay B2B filters on top of it. And when you do that, then you reorient your entire audience for B2B perspective, right? So when you say who's it best for, probably people who understand their offers, right? Have some offers built, are ready to A/B test those offers. And even if you don't, if you've got budget and you know that you need to make some changes, then guess what? Right? The done for you solution, we'll just go build it all out. Work with your people. I think it just depends on what people want. This kind of like search is content agnostic. Right. So I think, to answer that isn't as straightforward because I think it really depends on what audience you're trying to tap. You can tap whether it's B2B, B2C,
It doesn't
but
really matter.
yeah,
Oh, well, perfect. Best of both worlds then.
it is. It is.
When it comes to, I would say acquiring clients for either the Buzz CRM or
Mhm.
for the intent data, do you guys
Sure.
have any, like, systems, processes, or strategies in place for that?
So yeah, believe it or not, we actually like to use our own system really well. Like,
You
I
eat
see
your
so
own
many
cooking?
people that they come and they'll set up ours and they'll have two or three others running, and I'm like, that's a lot of like enterprise class software that you then have to make talk to each other. It's just so for me, I find it kind of funny that I don't have to go too far outside of my own comfort zone and our own tool set to be able to do outreach. Here's one that I think is really really simple and folks should do, especially if they go to trade shows. Right, this is a great tip for folks to take away. If you do trade shows and you walk away at the end of 2 or 3 days of trade show and you've got a pocket full of business cards and or digitals that you've scanned and they're in your phone, and then you got to go back to work and then have all those entered in and then import that into some tool, you're already behind. Like you're already behind. You're doing it like we did it in 1997, 98, 2000. It doesn't have to be done like that, and it can be automated and to make the experience awesome, right? So what does that look like to lighten your load? Before you ever get on a plane and show up in some city for a trade show, you sit down and you build out your automation and the follow-up sequence first. And you tie that to a QR code that you print out, make it nice, put a little stand in your booth, right? Or you have that QR code on your phone, right? And that QR code will allow people to scan, right? Or you could just do a form, fill out a form. There's 100 different ways to do it. But when they do that, you enter them right there on the trade show floor into workflow automation. So guess what? By the time you leave, day one, all your follow-up is already done,
Yeah.
period. And it makes such a tremendous difference, I think, when, you show up someplace and your outreach is happening right away, right? Um, Little nuances. A thank you. Thanks for taking the time to meet me in your booth today or at the show today. It was wonderful to get to learn about your business. Here's my calendar link. I'd love to sync up after you get back, right? Let's find a time to chat. Um, that that is built out, automated before you step onto the trade show. Very, very simple to make somebody feel good. So you could time it so that when you walk away from the booth and the person, has already filled out, whatever form or right, that data's has happened, you could set the timer to trigger in 5 minutes, give you a chance to walk away. That SMS lands in their phone. Hey, thanks for meeting me. It's little nuances like that that make the difference, that make
Absolutely.
you memorable. And so I tell folks, use little ideas like that. For us, we use our own tools. There's no secret, Jordan. we just use our own stuff and it does really, really well.
Got you. So I imagine, like, you use your own intent data and, like, you
Yep.
send out SMSs or text messages, you send out
Well,
email.
yeah. I mean, there's even one more. We have college kids that will take our intent data and they do outbound, calling to go do appointment setting for
For
demos.
for for you guys?
Yeah,
Oh, that's so
it's
awesome.
just another way that
Oh,
that
better.
we do this, to use that data to be effective. I mean, there's a bunch of different ways. I think you just have to be a little bit more creative. I can tell you, we were seeing a 20% call rate on cold calls.
Pickup
When I say
rate?
call rate, book rate, sorry,
Book?
20% book rate on cold calls off intent data.
Wow.
That's a little crazy.
That's
So
very
yeah, look, you know, I think you got to get comfortable with whatever tools you're using. Um, I would say this. There is something called duct tape marketing.
duct tape marketing.
Horrible, horrible, horrible practice. And ultimately, the reason why is all your data is disparate. It's all over the place inside of all of the subscriptions that you maintain to do your marketing. And for the most part, people have done that for years. But I tell folks if you can unify your marketing toolkit and get everything under one login, get it where all of its data is communicating with each other, then you become far more effective.
Mm.
And so that's one of the things I would tell you is definitely look at your marketing stack. Marketing stacks can get out of control quick. They can get expensive quick. So that's definitely something that, I tell folks all the time, try and unify your stack because your stack can absolutely get crazy out of control.
Absolutely, and I've learned that the hard way for sure. I was like, "Why am I paying for this software I haven't used in, like, ages, bro? Like, what the F is
Right.
this?" Next thing you know, you have, like, 10 of those softwares, you're like, "I'm not
Right.
even using these freaking things."
I
That's
know it's crazy.
yeah. Would you say that from the cold calling book meetings that you guys have, are you taking sales calls? Or I imagine you have a sales team.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, again, it's so if it's inbound, we have AI, really good AI that takes those inbound and essentially will route that call if they're at the point of purchase, right? Instantly. So, it'll route it to any of our team that takes those calls and gets people over a finish line. If it's on the outbound side, we do a combination, right? Like we use the college kids, we'll use outbound AI. We do outbound SMS, we do cold email. We kind of do a little bit of it all because there's no one, call it magic thing. But yeah, we just try and do a nice blend, if you will, nice mix of efforts, and that seems to do well for us.
For sure. What is, if you don't mind me asking, is the core product or service you sell the Buzz CRM in data?
So, here's the thing: we've been around long enough. What your audience doesn't know is before I ever got to digital, I used to work for NBC. I worked for two separate television networks before. I was a television director for years. Spent a lot of years in production for NBC, and so moving out into digital, for me, was something that you know I looked at the path very carefully, and my path led me directly from television into podcasting. And so that was, we built, Webmaster Radio, launched that 2004. 10 years later, built one, call it a sister network for plant medicine. And that launched, that's been running now since, 2014. Um, we've been podcasting for a long time. And so podcasting was really, that was my call it my traverse from the brick and mortar world into digital and seeing the path that was most clear for me at the time. And I just kind of married that together. And, so really our core products are, they're a couple of podcast networks, cannabisradio.com, WMR.fm. WMR has been rebranded. That represents, podcasting since 2004. We've produced well over 100,000 episodes of podcasts for other people.
Wow.
And so that's why when you say our core product or service, they're kind of like we present them on a flywheel because it's an ecosystem that feeds each other, right? Podcasts are they're an exercise in marketing, right? Jordan, you're marketing right now, right? I'm marketing right now. And so for me, it was a natural progression going from broadcast into a marketing kind of role that, was broadcast flavored, if you will.
Yeah.
And so that was really my entree. So when you say what is the core, they kind of all feed each other. And we have folks that'll enter one way into our ecosystem. They'll come into the podcasting and they're like, oh my God, like, could you help us get more listeners? Well, sure. Like, what do you want to do with that? Right. We find out what that goal is and we go, okay, well, let's go help with some landing pages and then let's put this on your main website. Let's get an embed player. Let's get something to capture who that visitor is. And in fact we try and tell people go one step further. Put a pixel on your page and capture their data. Because if they're not giving it to you, they're interested. They were on your website, right? So I think it's just it's a couple of different ways to get there, but I think I love uh everything that we do for people because no one day is ever the same. And we have our pockets of teams that handle the various entities, and they all talk together, communicate together, work together. And, for us, that's been awesome, and it definitely keeps the day not boring.
Yeah, I think life as an entrepreneur is very, very not flexible, but it's never the same. Always
Right.
new problems to tackle. I mean, sure, not to be like really in the nitty-gritty here, like sure, like there's repetitive tasks that we do. But
Right.
if you're growing, there's always new challenges, right? Like if you're always facing the same problem, in my opinion, I don't think that you're growing
Well,
as a
we're automating those repetitive tasks. That's what you ought to be doing, right? Like anybody. That's why I tell people, like, we live in the age of AI. Do you know how lucky you are?
right.
It's not Skynet yet. Don't be afraid, but don't cuss it out either. I've got a buddy who cusses it out. I'm like, just be nice to the AI.
No,
Um,
okay, yeah, that thing pisses me off sometimes,
I know
dude.
he does the same thing, and I'm like, ah, God, like if it becomes Skynet, you don't want it knocking on your door one day. You
Right.
want to be the polite guy, you're right. Like,
No, for
so
sure.
I tell folks, like right now, all that mundane, all that stuff, the chores of your day to day, we have AI.
No, true, true.
Like, you can automate all of it. And, whether or not you're doing something in an ecosystem like ours, or you're going out and building your own, like that's kind of where we live today. Is being able to look at a problem and go, well, this sucks. And there not necessarily be a solution on the shelf for it. And if you can articulate it, you can get there. You can get there.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm not sure what, LLM you use or what AI platform you use, but I love Claude and Anthropic or whatever. They have this feature called plan mode where you
Yep.
have a problem and you're like, "Hey, here's the problem. I have no idea what the solution is, but I know I
Right.
want this to be the outcome."
Yeah.
And it asks you like a million questions to come up with the best plan.
Right.
And next thing you know, it builds this awesome plan for you and it
Yep.
executes on your behalf. You can hit the gym, come back, and it's done. It's like, oh, that was fantastic. Like AI
Well,
is
I
AI is
tell people, like, you be careful of the plans, right? Because they'll load up the plan with shit they should never do, right?
ah,
Like,
yeah,
oh, dude, I mean, you don't even know. And look, I think a lot of people that run into problems in some of these platforms, and I use several, right? Um, Lovable's like my last one. I just, yeah. They've got large ad dollars and they've been spending. So it's in a lot of people's eye sockets right now.
right.
But I don't. So while I understand Claude and that build approach, I personally don't enjoy it. So I lean towards something like Replit or Vercel.
Okay,
Those are full stack options. And so when you're building, right, like it'll build the back end as well as the front end.
got you.
But if you don't know, that AI will build your plan and then it'll stuff all kinds of stuff in there. Like if you're building in Next.js 16, it might default to 15. And when you tell it, right, like, I need you to go analyze this, uh, pull the documents, right, verify the patterns. When you start doing that, it's going to go check the documents for Next.js 15 when you're building in 16.
Right,
So you don't get what you need out of that, and you're just wasting tokens.
yeah,
So I tell people on every new project, go build guardrails in there because it gives you space to put in guardrails. Put your guardrails in, tell it, pull the docs for whatever you're building in, tell it to recognize the patterns, don't build shit in line, right? Like all the things that, we see AI do that it knows it shouldn't do. And when you call it out, it goes, oh, I'm sorry. You're so correct. Yes,
right.
I'm correct. Why?
And
Why?
that
Right?
that's a
So I think a lot of people argue, "Oh, that's in the business model. That's how they make their extra money." Oh, okay. Either that or you didn't spend enough time on the prompt in the very beginning, right? And just like there is, I'll make a recommendation for people to a site I went and bought a membership at, because it does help you when you're planning your prompts, right? And it's called supadev.so. Supadev.so. And I know that's a weird extension, but what this allows you to do is go answer a bunch of questions. And then it's got pull down menus for you to go in and select what part of your stack, right? Am I using React? Am I using Next? Am I building a mobile app? Is it a web app? Is it right? So you answer all these questions, and then it builds out a lot of a lot. It builds out most of your initial planning documents for your back end, your
Wow.
front end, your database, like all that stuff that you would normally forget when you go build your first prompt for your new project. And guess what? If you forget all that, if you forget all the questions that you're going to answer at supadev.so,
Yeah.
then what happens is you end up in hallucinations and you end up in that weird loop thing where it's built stuff that doesn't work, that doesn't talk to each other. Guess what? You're at fault.
Right.
You're at fault because you didn't do your homework on the original prompt, right?
100%. Yeah, prompting is
So I tell people, do your homework. I build prompts that sometimes for a project, I won't hit send into the AI for 2 weeks. And I've been building that prompt for 2 weeks. I'll use other AI to build it. I go back and forth. It gets bigger, and I build a master prompt, and then I take everything from SuperData, all of it at once, after 2 weeks or whatever, building all that, and then the initial build goes, and it's like, wow. So all that structure is there. It's considering everything that you should have to begin with, right? And doesn't have to wonder which direction to go in or guess and build it. And then you go, oh, no, that's not the direction. Ah, right?
I'm curious though, what were you building for 2 weeks? What prompt
A
were you building?
prompt, a prompt. Just the initial prompt, right? So I'll tell you what that prompt was for. I was building a peptide platform.
Yo. Do you
Yeah,
take those? Off topic, I know, but I
absolutely.
love yeah, yeah, we can definitely talk about this. I love that shit, dude. I think if Big Farm had their hands in this pie, dude, everyone would be on peptides. Yes, sir.
And that's the I've got a pile of them off
For
camera.
sure. For
Yeah,
sure.
I mean, we are all about our peptides. It's I'll say it, I am 57, about to be 58 here in a few weeks.
Look at
And I take a stack in the morning that I actually call it, and I've dubbed it this. Don't go Google it. You're not going to find it because I came up with the name. Okay, that's what it is. It's called the superhero protocol,
yes, sir.
and because when I take it, I feel like a superhero. I legit go from feeling 57 to feeling 21 in a span of a few minutes.
Yeah.
And you're like, how the? Well, I'll give you the secret. Right? We're sharing knowledge here. Um, it is. It is a blend of 1,000 milligram NAD plus, right? And I'll draw out, my dose. I'm not going to dose people. You do your own research,
Research,
talk to your
yeah.
doctors, and then I draw out. Let's see, NAD plus, and then MOTS-C. MOTS-C is a really good one, and it supports that NAD for mitochondrial health,
Yeah.
cellular support. In other words, those energy factories inside of our cells that are like slowing down as we age. It's normal. Essentially, this stack goes and puts the battery cables right on those engines, right? So your entire body goes, whoa, right? Like, and so for me, that's great. So that NAD plus, MOTS-C, and then SS31, bit of an amplifier. And poof, boy. So yes, I went crazy into the peptide world. I was building
No, for sure.
an e-com platform that was also an arbitrage platform. That was a
Okay,
risk mitigation platform. So, yeah, look, if you're gonna build and use AI, you can do things that you've never done before, but you need to do it in a way that is constructive. Because if you build a prompt the way most people do, and then try and build an app or a site or something that way, you will need a senior engineer in your last mile, which your last mile of an AI build is usually like the last 15 to 25% of the project, depending upon how you originally prompted it. So
for
I
sure.
tell people, do that work up front. Save
Yeah,
yourself the time and the money on the senior engineer.
absolutely, absolutely. I do wish you had more time, so a few more questions for you.
No problem.
But in 2026, what would you say is like the number one goal that you and the company are trying to hit?
Mm. I I think I would say more awareness for people around automating the mundane. That's really we get so much of that. And I gotta say, that stuff eats up most people's time. And like I spend a lot of time telling people, automate it. Like stop like slogging through the stuff that you just don't have to anymore. So I think 2026 is holding the keys to a lot of people's call it freedom from that mundane. They just have to take that step. There's a lot of folks that are just embracing it and leaning straight in. There's a lot of folks that are scared of it. A lot of folks feel like it's going to take their job. If you're one who feels like it's going to take your job, you're the one that needs to dive in head first and make yourself knowledgeable in the space. Plenty of places that do certs in the space. Go get certified, learn it, make yourself um, like uh, a hot commodity
Yeah,
because you know AI. That's what I would tell people because AI is not here to take our jobs. It's here to make that mundane far easier to stomach and automate. So again, I think there's ways of making life easier. This is one of them. And in 2026, that's what we're helping people do.
I love that, Darren. And where could they find you if they wanted to explore more?
Listen, if they want to find me, they can send me an email. They can email me Daron Daron at thebuzzcrm.com.
Yes, sir. Darren, it was a pleasure having you on, man. Thank you for all the gems, the advice, and the strategies. And we'll have you back on like 6 to 9 months to see how business is going.
It was wonderful. I
Yes,
appreciate the time today. It was awesome.
absolutely. All right, audience. Talk soon.